what's up everybody? Today I'm here to talk about The Last Jedi and the Rotten Tomatoes score. I'm making this video because a lot of people have been reaching out to me and asking me to address this in a video, so I am gonna try my best to address the topics that you guys send me. I'm more than happy to do that, and I really love this community where we can, talk and discuss our ideas. Someone even told me that it's very therapeutic to be able to have this kind of conversations, especially when it comes to a movie that it brought so much division amongst the fans. If you have been following this channel, you know that I'm not a fan of The Last Jedi. I am not happy with the execution of that film. It's not even the ideas, it's mostly the executions. A lot of the stuff, it was too terrible in my opinion. So I'm here to discuss a little bit more about The Last Jedi. I also would like to thank everyone that's been engaging on my channel and sending me messages. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much for sticking with me. And I'll try to respond to your messages as much as I can. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter if you want to ask any questions or give me any ideas for topics. I'll be happy to try to address the topics as much as I can. Okay, so let's talk about the Rotten Tomatoes audience score. I found an article on Forbes that is titled Rotten Tomatoes audience score for Star Wars The Last Jedi has tumbled to a rotten 49%. And scrolling down the article, I'm also going to put the link below so you guys can also check this out. It says the audience score now at 49% is truly bad. By far the lowest audience score ever given to a live action Star Wars movie. 14% lower than the 57 score of the most disliked Star Wars, which was the Attack of the Clones. And obviously this is no longer accurate because right now it stands at a 47%, which is really low. And it also says a great many people, hardcore fans, casual fans, and non-fans alike, consider The Last Jedi to be a terrible disappointing movie. And the other unusual thing about it is also the difference between the critics and the audience score. So my opinion on this is I think that the score is legit because I think that a lot of people were disappointed on the film. At the same time, a lot of people liked it. And this is another thing, that this movie created so many division in the fandom. And to me, this is actually sad because Star Wars, it was something that would bring people together. And now people are having fights, calling each other names and defending the film and hating on the film. And I don't think that's a good thing. And that's another reason why I don't really like The Last Jedi. So as far as the critic score versus the audience score, my opinion on it is like I truly couldn't care less on the critic score. I've never went to see a film because of critic score. In fact, I value more the audience score than the critic score because the audience, first of all, you're not getting paid for it, and second of all, they're just writing their true feelings and what they thought about the film, okay? But the critics, who knows what's going on behind the curtains? Some people might get paid to give good reviews. You can't, I don't fully trust it. I never have and I never will. And that's not, I couldn't care less about the critics' idea on the film. And also, critics love, like when you talk about like a broken character, the unexpected, they love this kind of stuff. But in my opinion, I don't dislike change, okay? And I don't dislike the idea of a broken character, for instance. In fact, I thought that the idea of having a broken look, the idea itself, it's pretty interesting, So I don't see Luke Skywalker as a broken character in The Last Jedi. I thought that Luke Skywalker was made fun of in The Last Jedi, and that's mainly the reason why I didn't like it. It's not because of change or, I didn't think people were saying, oh, it was poetic, it was a great send-off. No, I don't think it was a great send-off. If you watched Logan is a movie where you can see a broken character. When I watched that movie, towards the end, I was bawling, okay? I had like a tissue. I just saw it a couple of days ago. That's the portrayal of a broken character. You see Logan still being Logan, even though he's kind of like depressed, he's no longer in his prime. but he was not made fun of. Towards the end, he was still Logan, and he went with a fight, you know. I thought that portrayal actually added to the complexity of the character and built upon the character, and it made the ending truly heartfelt. But I did not feel that with Luke. I think with Luke was the complete opposite. How come you get to see Rose mourning her sister, someone that we just met like a minute ago, but we don't get to see Luke mourning Han, which is a super important character? I mean, is that not important? Because that would like ruin the pacing of the film. How does that make any sense? So I don't think that Luke was a character that was, you know, it was poetic, and like he was portrayed as a coward. He was portrayed as, you know, a nasty old man, you know, milking a stupid sea cow for no purpose. No, like if you tell me, listen, and then people came to me and say, oh, he's a farmer, that's normal, and blah, 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 blah. Listen, my friend, if you really think that that scene was about Luke Skywalker eating habits, you were very naive, because that scene was nothing to do with, or like, seriously, I'm not even going to address that, because I have already made a rant video about The Last Jedi where I explained the reasons in detail why I didn't like it. I'll put the link below. You can also watch that if you want. But this is the one thing that I think the fans were disappointed, because I thought that he was a character that was there just to be made fun of, to make Rey look good, and it does not. That movie is just extremely disappointing. The other reason why people didn't like the film is that there's a lot of plot holes, and then some other people have been saying to me, oh, this plot hole is explained on the book, blah, 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 blah. But first of all, people should not have to go to an external book to find out that the bombs are falling like that in space because they're magnetic, for instance, okay? Not all the fans, not everyone is going to read this extra material. This extra material is just supposed to give the fans more details on things that are not major to the plot. So I think that if you have to go to read the external material to find out an explanation that you should have gotten from the film, this movie is just not a good movie, okay? I'm sorry. The Last Jedi is just that present, you know, that present that you're expecting for the whole year at Christmas, and it comes on a very beautiful wrapped box with a beautiful ribbon on top, but then when you open, it's nothing of what you were expecting. This is exactly what it is. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful from the outside, you know, the trailer was so great, the visual effects is so great, oh my god, we're gonna see Luke Skywalker. But in fact, when you go to watch the film, it's just a mess. It's just all over the place. Nothing makes sense. And this is one of the reasons why people didn't like it. For me specifically, I couldn't even engage with the film. You know, the whole thing with purple hair. Why are we supposed to care about purple hair death? I was actually glad she died. I was like, okay, just get out. I don't like you. I don't care about you. I didn't think she was, you know, there is no character development. And then the other thing that people are asking me is about, oh, JJ Abrams said that people that didn't like the film, they're threatened by women. And I did find the article. It's on, what is it? It's on IndiWire. I'm also going to put it below. And I think this whole conversation with JJ Abrams was taken out of context, because if you read this article, you'll see that he was asked like this, okay? So the title of the article is a little bit misleading in my opinion. It says, JJ Abrams, Star Wars fans who didn't like The Last Jedi are threatened by women. Paraphrasing what he said, okay? But this is what IndiWire asked. Asked by IndiWire about the pushback from Star Wars fans who decried Rian Johnson's film for its focus on more female-centric stories. And then he said, their problem isn't Star Wars, their problem is being threatened. I mean, the question says that people didn't like the film because it's female-centric stories. And that's not the reason why people didn't like the film. If you give the fans strong female characters with great character development, I'm pretty sure people are not going to be mad at it. Star Wars is filled with strong female characters. We have seen Leia is a strong female character. She was a great inspiration for me when I was a kid, okay? What about Ahsoka? Not everyone followed the animation, but Ahsoka is another super cool, super strong character. Padme, you know, Leia's mom, super strong character. She was a senator, she was a queen, she had to come up with hard decisions, and she was not just like the meh, I need to be saved girl, you know, or I can do whatever, or I need no character development and I'm just superwoman, and you know, it was nothing like that. Those characters are way more interesting to watch than watch someone that has no struggles, you know. It's just like, oh, they're just good for no reason. There's no, like, how are you supposed to connect to it? Like, I don't see anyone complaining on Ripley as a strong female character. So the problem is not gender. And this, you know, people are taking this completely out of context, and this is what annoys me, because it's absolutely not about gender. You know, people are not mad because of the female character. They're mad about the bad characters. Maybe there's some people over there that they don't like women in Star Wars, but obviously you cannot sacrifice the story because of an agenda. Star Wars is a movie that always had that. It was so relatable, you know, because there's always this real family struggle, and it's so easy to, it was so heartfelt, but I didn't feel that in The Last Jedi. There's no heart, you know, there's only like, here's a new character. It's time for you to like this new character and forget about Luke Skywalker. Here's a new character. It's time for you to forget General Akbar is a trap and like purple hair because she's super cool and she's a female and she's woo. Like, it doesn't work like that. You can't expect people to care from a character that you just introduced a minute ago. It just doesn't make any sense, okay? Even the idea of a broken Luke, I think it could have been cool if it was better executed, okay? If we still had... it was just, that was not a broken Luke, okay? I'm sorry, like a milking, it's just, it was just terrible, okay? So let me just use Logan again as an example, you know. Throughout the entire film, we hear, or at the very beginning, the movie is set up as Logan does not care about anything anymore. He just want to be left alone. He's an old man right now, and he doesn't want any trouble, okay? However, when trouble is brought to him, he does not run away from the fight. And that is the difference, okay? Rey does not manage to convince him to go save his sister. A bunch of people keeps dying, and he's still there alone on that island, doesn't care about anything and anyone, you know. When Yoda meets with Luke, for instance, Yoda is just treating him like that boy, you know, that we saw, 30 years ago. There's no... Where is Master Luke Skywalker? You know, like, how is this... Han just died, and we didn't even get to see him upset about it. It was just, you know, whatever, you know... For the people that like this film, and if it worked for you, that's great. But this is the other thing that I don't understand. Like, people think that they have to defend the film and come, like, if something is good, it does not need defending, okay? If something is good, it just is good, okay? Even though people didn't want to see a broken Luke, but I think if the execution was correct, people would have be able to connect to the movie more, you know? Like, for instance, at the end, Luke Skywalker died, and I couldn't even share the tear because I was just like, huh? What? It doesn't make sense, okay? This is not a broken character. There's no development over there. This is just a character that was meant to have you dislike him and forget about him, because now here you have Rey, here, purple hair, here, Rose Tico. I'm sorry, but like if you give us all these new characters and you just don't give them proper arcs and you don't develop them, and you just can't expect the people to love and engage with them, okay? They're just not the same. Why do you think people loved Luke, Leia, and Han so much? Because they are relatable and they had great art. They were fun to watch. They had struggles. They were not superhumans. Luke even lost a hand, for crying out loud, because he disobeyed Yoda. So you can't expect people to just fall in love with characters, you know, if you're breaking that original magic that was there, you know. So I don't think it's the change that affected the fans. I just, you know, I don't even think that is the fact that there's a lot of female characters. I don't think there's anything to do with that, you know. I just think that is the execution of everything, is the destroying the story of the movie because of a certain agenda, you know, that it was completely unnecessary. Star Wars, a movie that always had plenty of diversity, you know, it had strong female characters, but even Daisy Ridley herself said that, oh, I don't think Rey has any weaknesses, correct? Didn't she say that? That is just not interesting to watch. I'm sorry. The other thing that is also very interesting is that the audience is what matters the most, because the audience are the ones buying the merchandise. The audience are the ones spending money and going to the movies and watching it over and over again. So that's why I don't care about what the critics had to say, okay? I'm more interested in see what the audience has to say about the movie. Luke Skywalker is a Jedi that was completely... It was a Jedi that did not have the traditional training, okay? By the time he was born, the Jedi had already been all destroyed thanks to Palpatine. He was trained much older, for instance, okay? Like we see on the prequels that it's little kids that are being trained. Even Yoda says that Anakin is already too old. So Luke Skywalker is a Jedi that he's already different because he does not have the traditional training. And on top of that, his training was one-on-one with Yoda, which in my opinion is one of the best kind of trainings you can have. The other interesting thing that I thought is that Luke Skywalker could have had many interesting conversations with Anakin Skywalker about the Jedi, and I mean, reading the books and all of that. So the fact that he would like lose his faith on the Jedi, I could buy the idea, okay? I could buy the idea because Luke is very much, he's very similar to Anakin Skywalker in a way. If you look back in the prequels, you know that Anakin is always clashing with the Jedi. This is not the Jedi way, and it made sense that he lost faith on the Jedi. I believe, like Anakin Skywalker, Luke could have indeed clashed with the ideas of the Jedi, and when he finds out about all the failure and all the ideology that didn't work. So it would have been interesting to see him struggling with that idea of the Jedi being a failure and things like that. But what I didn't like about The Last Jedi is the fact that the execution completely made fun of the character. And it did not explore none of these kind of ideas. We just hear him like complaining, like there's not even an explanation why is he so upset with the Jedi, and why just because... I thought that the movie had a lot of inconsistencies. So a lot of my friends, a lot of people, I have some friends that did enjoy the film, but they were not as connected or don't really care about Star Wars as much as I do, for instance. So for them, it was just great entertainment, great visuals, and they don't really deeply care about the characters. But I believe that the fans that been there and they truly care about the characters, and if they're gonna do a send-off, they have to do it in a proper way. They have to do it in an epic way. They have to do it in a satisfying way, okay? Just the fact that they didn't even give the fans a team up, I thought that was terrible. It was such a wasted opportunity, you know? They wanted to do, Han Solo was gonna be the big one on the episode 7, then Luke on episode 8, and Leia on episode 9, and that plan backfired because we know Carrie Fisher is no longer with us, you know. But like not even giving us a proper reunion of the original characters, I thought that was, why not, you know, why not add that to the film? And that's why people are upset, you know, because there's other things that are unresolved that you cannot just toss it aside and let's go let's go save some horses. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work like that. You know, Star Wars was always about these characters, and you know, it was always, people were always connected to it. That there's a reason why it has lasted so long. There's a reason why the fans are so engaged and so passionate about it, because it was a very relatable story. Because it's a story that a dad would sit at home and show it to his children, for instance. So I'm getting to the end of my video, but I wanted to say that I don't have anything against the people that like the film. If this movie worked for you, that is great. You know, that is fantastic. Here, good for you. You know, I'm not here to try to pick a fight with people that like the film. You know, I didn't like it, and I already explained my reasons why I didn't like it. If you love the film and it works for you, that's fantastic. But just try to be polite, you know, like, don't stop yelling at people and calling people names just because they don't like your movie, you know. For me, I'm not too excited about episode 9. I'm not too excited because I don't think, I mean, what's to be, the same thing with Mark Hamill not caring about coming back to the franchise, for instance. Like, why would he, you know? The gang is no longer there. Harrison Ford, I mean, he was the smart one, okay? He left before the whole mess happened. It felt like they had to destroy Luke Skywalker so you can care about the new characters. And this, one of the things that I hated, because I already liked the new characters by the time we got to The Last Jedi. I thought Finn was really funny. I thought Rey was really great. Even though everything was kind of like going well for her, I thought that it was just like, oh, maybe it's just beginner's luck. I'm pretty sure she's going to be well developed and she's going to have like a nice arc on the following film. But the reason why I didn't like it is because those things didn't happen. Finn, for instance, did not have an interesting arc, okay? He was pretty much like the sidekick of Rose Tico, okay? Rey, it's just Superwoman, okay? She can beat everybody, including the Master Jedi, Luke Skywalker. You know, she can beat everyone and everybody. She doesn't have any struggles. There's no explanation for her crazy and awesome powers. So it's just, you know, and then Kylo Ren hates Luke Skywalker just because Luke Skywalker wanted to kill him, you know? And that's the motivation of him, the reason why he hates Luke Skywalker. It's just the way that the story is written is not, it does not, it was not appealing to me. So the story of Luke Skywalker ended on episode 6. You know, that's the Luke Skywalker that I'm gonna keep in my mind. I couldn't really connect to The Last Jedi, and I think that a lot of people had the same feeling, you know, that there's something missing in that movie, and it made people really mad about it. So I believe that the score of the audience saying that it was 47% is very legit, because a lot of people and half of the fandom didn't like it, so it's split in half. It worked for some people, it didn't work for some other people, but anyways, it is what it is. That's it, guys. This is the end of my video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more if you haven't already. Comment below. You can also hit me up on Twitter if you want to send me questions. I'll probably be able to get back to you faster through Twitter. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.